Fiddly Gabdi, Danny Boy here. We're back with more Transport Fever in the USA for, yes, it's as the title says, this is the grand finale of my first ever season, my first ever YouTube series, and this is going to be the grand finale of the USA part of the gameplay, and I'll do another episode with the Europe gameplay. And now you'll see we're at the year 2052 and I've got $1.29 billion, because what I actually did was, if we switch everything on, we've got tons of stuff here. I never got around to doing all of the industries down here, but as we head up, tons of passengers, stuff like that. If you switch everything on, there's so much happening. There we go. There's all the freight. Did I actually do any industry down here? No. So we'll push play. We'll be as well push and play. There's so much stuff happening. What I actually started to do was add on branch lines. See, look, there's a branch line train there, going from Minneapolis to Boston. Branch line trains up this side. And because I stuck so much branch lines in pretty much for every city, the frame rate started to sort of tank and the game was getting a bit sluggish, and that's without doing all the branch lines down here. I never actually got around to that, but you can see up here stuff's doing good. Lots of fuel, oil, construction materials, everything is going. How much construction materials did you get? Still only a half load, even though there's plenty of stone and there's plenty of demand for construction materials. But anyway, what we're going to do for this last episode is we'll do a little drive by, a little drive along. We'll pick a train, probably a speed dance, and then we'll join the loop line or the outer rim line. We'll switch off all this again, just to sort of get a sort of slightly better frame rate. So here is one of our speed dances. Now I really was looking forward to this train coming on the go, and it is a beautiful train and it's hell of a fast, but it was pretty disappointing. I've actually used a couple of them new on different lines, and none have ever made money. So before we jump in the passenger or the driver seat of that train, we will bring up our line manager. Now we'll go to trains first. Everything's sort of making money. This is a new line, this is also a new line. So there's heaps of new branch lines that I've added in, and most of them seem to make money, except for the ones like this scene. How much is on it? 0. Even though the line works, and I can it works because sometimes it has one person or two people on it, nobody really seems to want to use it. Everything else is doing okay. This is our double header stone train. It's getting about almost half a load each time, which is near enough to offset the cost of running a double header train. This was another speed dance that I added. Again, because it's like the length of two destinations, it goes from one, past through one city, across to the other side. It doesn't seem to make any money. Nobody really wants to use it. This was another one I added. It's been going for about 20 odd years. It still doesn't get enough passengers. 25, it's slowly getting more. This is doing fine, and these two lines never really recovered after the end of the last episode for the screwed up. The other trains are sort of bunched together, and I really couldn't be bothered changing them, but we're still making plenty of money to offset the costs. See, we made 106 million, 67. Only when we start buying stuff does it go down. Here's another new one. See, this is a new one as well, but it's doing good. The outer rim train, there it is, there's one of them there. still nae marking on the money. Everything else, these 3 lines here are our new lines, and they're starting, these were probably the last teams I put in, and they're starting just to come good. So we'll head to the buses and trucks. Most of the trucks, except for Athens fuel, because the Athens train doesn't seem to get much fuel, seem to be doing fine. The buses, terrible. It's probably because I've got their routes right hell. When I do the next series, and there will be a next series, I've found a map. It's like a map, it's kind of like if you've ever seen Colonel Failures. It's like a map of the USA and Europe. This seems a bit more bigger and it's a bit more detailed. I will tell you the author of the map when we come to actually do the modded series. So here we go. There's some trucks. The reason we're mending this scene is because I've added quite a lot of stuff, but obviously without mods it's just the same trains over and over again. Same trucks, same buses. There we go. Trucks seem to do well, buses didn't seem to do that great. When it comes to doing the next series, I will make sure that the bus and tram lines are well routed to get the best optimization on their lines. So I reckon if it's maybe because these buses are a bit more expensive to run, but no, look, see, nothing. Tons of passengers are waiting and they're getting full loads every time, but they just didn't mark on any money. Same with the trams. Austin tram really seems to be the only one that's working. The rest of them are all losing not a terrible amount of money, but Boston tram was making money, so I added more trams on it. Now it's going totally wrong. Planes, I suppose this thing's only minus 725. It's got 22 of 38. That's not bad. So ships, the fuel ships, we've probably got more fuel ships than we need. I could probably get rid of 2 of them, but getting rid of 2 of them is negative, put them into profit. And the River Runner hovercrafts, well, they've always done well, so I'm quite proud of them. So here we go, we'll play the game and we'll jump into our speed dance. I'll probably set it at ×2, just because it would probably take, I reckon, about half an hour or an hour just to get around the whole map once. See, if you see to the right, there's our new industry. I'm not sure why it froze there. Is it because the frame rates get, I've seen our intercity trains, one of the branch line trains. It might probably freeze a few times, and it could be auto saving because it's a new year, or it could just be because there's so much stuff happening in the map. There's our new industry trains. There's our double-headed stone train. Come on, no more freezing. It's a shame you can't really see the industry trains over there. There's another one of our intercities. See, they're still boxed up. The first train that's at the head of the line picks up all the passengers and then drops most of them off, and then the next 6 trains that come in behind it didn't get anything because everybody's already gone. But it started to pick up a bit more, so that the first 2 trains always say full loads. So I suspect if I let it run forever, then all the trains at one point would say full loads and mark plenty of money. But the lines did work before, it's just because they screwed up in that last episode that now they don't. So here we are, heading for Modesto. Here's one of our here's the speed dance I added to go through Modesto, or Modesto, and go to Des Moines, but nobody seems to want to use it. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because the route is too far away, but the train's pretty fast, so I'm not sure why it doesn't work. So our next heading is Des Moines. It seems to me that clipped through a bit of landslide there. It seems to me that cities at the top end of the maps didn't really get that much passengers for some reason. Like in the intercity lines in loop line stations, there's always lots of passengers waiting to get on that trains. But the cities down at the bottom or the top of the map, then I really seem to get that much people want to use like an outer rim train or an intercity train. Probably because it's the end of the line. But there are some people wait for it. See, there's nobody here. Unless the passengers come for that side, which I highly doubt it. No. Therefore, is that a loop line? This would have been the inside loop line. If I'd added more speed dances, which I probably could have, they wouldn't have made any money, like, but could have added them. It just means this track on the left hand side is going to be pretty bare the whole way around. I think I've finished it. I'm sure I did. But here we are heading for Minneapolis. I added some branch lines into Minneapolis, but the city's grown a fair size, but the amount of passengers has not really increased that much. So this train can actually get up to a fair bit of speed along this section of track. It's doing 123 miles an hour. There's one of our high horsepower intercity trains. Let's see how fast it can go. I'm not sure, I can't remember if the top speed of this train actually is. 141, 142. There's another intercity train. See, they're the same. The ends on this side are the same as the ends across at the other side. They're all bunched up together. But there is one on its way back. It seems to me that the HHP loco is rather big compared to the carriages. Is that the scale? Is it actually really that big in real life? Here we go. The race is on. We'll get past this sucker. See you later. So here we are now heading for Tallahassee. There's another intercity train. Tallahassee, I think we ran fuel down to Tallahassee. That's probably the only goods that get delivered there. The thing was, in this map there were lots of things. The downfall of the American series was I never did enough industry. And it looked like a good map when I first started it, because there were some industries stuck together, or close together, but I never really optimised in it. I never really, by the time I noticed that the industries were close to cities or quarries were close to construction materials plants, it was too late. So only now did it start making money near the end that I started to do more industry. For about 30 episodes or so, I was only running crude oil and fuel. It was the only industry I ever did. Unlike in the European series, where I've got food, fuel, iron ore, wood, planks, machines, tools. But in the next episode, or the next season in the modded series, we'll do it a bit better. I'm thinking about removing all the industries on the map and possibly just adding my own industries with the Industry Tycoon mod. So that might be something that's going to happen. Here we are in Athens. Now this poor Athens train that's just going up in front of us, the Metroliner. This line had one of the last steam trains on it. The last steam train I had, apart from the big boy, the last passenger steam train was this Athens train that's in front of us, and it made a fortune. It made about $2 million each time it went to a station. And as soon as I changed it to a Metroliner, or maybe it wasn't a Metroliner, maybe it was a Zephyr. But I'm sure as soon as I changed it to a Zephyr or a Metroliner, I can't remember, and it just started losing a ton of money. Now it loses about $2 million each trip, so it's not doing that great. I see we're not going to be able to catch up on that. There are 2 freight trains. There's one of them now. I think that's the Tallahassee, yes, because this is the Athens fuel train. Here we are coming into Frisco, which is the first city I put trams in. There's a branch line going to Durham. There's the Athens train on the left, and the airport should be up here somewhere on the left. We are 1 plane. So the planes only made money like early game. As soon as I upgraded to anything past the Dakota, or I think there was 1 more plane I upgraded to after that actually made money. That's the airport there on the left. This train is going to peel off. It would be excellent if it could cross that bridge just as we were going under it. And no. Oh well. I could have actually just run this line. There's some of our hovercrafts. Could have run this line just parallel to this scene. I reckon why I stuck it on the left hand side. Oh, because this line's already in the outer station track. Okay, that's why I did it. Now I remember. So we're around here and we're into Durham. Again, Durham could be better because I had the station over there. The part of the game or the episode where I rearranged all the stations in the USA from the first stations that I'd placed sort of screwed everything up as well. We lost tons of money and it didn't really bounce back. For us in the European series, I did exactly the same thing. Deleted all the stations, moved the trains onto their new tracks to the new stations, and everything sort of bounced back pretty quickly. But in this series, or this American playthrough, the trains never really seemed to bounce back. And I was running Zephyrs as well, and they're pretty expensive, so it was costing me a fortune. But I didn't really want to get rid of them. They ended up coming good in the end, so it's all good. Now you'll see here that like this city has got a bridge going across to the people that stay in this side, but like in this American playthrough and the European playthrough, there's a lot of cities that have no road going across the tracks, or no bridges, or no tunnels. So the people on that side are at the mercy of how far the reach of the station's influence goes on that side. So it can't really grow anymore, because I never really added buses or trams or anything to the other sides or the stations. So that's definitely something I will fix in the next series. I was thinking about doing the next playthrough as like a sort of total full-on sandbox, switch costs off so that I didn't need money to buy everything. Again, that's kind of like cheating, but I wanted to really mark something pretty epic. I mean, I'm going to be using Russian trains and Chinese trains, American, European. Right, here we are back on the other side of the map in Salem. There's one of our intercity trains. See, there's still building going on here. And that train over there is pretty dirty. I have had to, when I was playing through the year 2053, that I did have to replace quite a lot of things. And I had to set other things to auto-replace. The loco doesn't actually look that bad, but the carriages look terrible. So here we go, heading for Austin. In Austin, the only thing we've got going in it is trams. And there is only the outer rim train and the intercity train that stop in Austin. It's not got any branch lines or anything like that. So it probably could have been a lot better, but there is growth in that left hand side of the station. and I did actually put a bridge in. But there's not much growth you can see there, it's just a couple of houses here and there. I like this is pretty cool. Cruising past all the new age buildings there. Here we have some industries. That looks like a farm that never got used. Is it a farm? Can't actually tell. So now we're heading for Scottsdale. Scottsdale has actually got some branch lines in it. That must have been an autosave. That was a rather long pause. Here we're going to Scottsdale. Looks like I stuck a bridge in Scottsdale. Nice. I'd also like to read the next episode with costs off, so that when it comes to rearranging stations and stuff in cities, I can just delete buildings as I go along if I need to add in new stations or stuff. Because when you start off a new game, you either get it in medium or you can get it in hard for you only get $1 million, but you can borrow money for the bank straight off the bat. And it's the same with the medium, for you get $2 million. You can also go to the bank and take out a loan, and then in easy it's still just as hard, except for you get $3 million, which is still a loan at the start, so you still have to pay it back. And then doing stuff like placing a station right in the heart of a city is basically impossible, because you need to delete all the buildings exactly where you want to place that station. But if you had course turned off, you could just delete anything you wanted, fire the station in, and they had to worry about the train making money until the rest of the city grows in and around the station. And it means that you could add, straight away you could add like an 8-track station, and later on in the game you wouldn't have to delete other buildings or totally destroy routes or tracks just to add on a few more platforms, which would probably cost you a couple of million just to delete the buildings and the roads around the station. And obviously the bigger the building, the higher the cost is to delete it. It wouldn't be so bad if each building was just that little small houses and only cost you about $50,000. But if you have to delete like a hotel or something, and it's going to cost you $2 million to wipe out that building, that's a lot of money at the start of the game, and it's money that you need in order to progress. Oh, boom, that train's just been derailed. So here we are in Patterson, no branch lines in this either, I think, although I do see a track going over there, but I do think it's connected to nothing. Nope, it's no. There's no goods in Patterson either. We're catching up in one of the intercity trains. So it's a shame that these speed dances didn't make any money, but I'm still going to use them in the next series. I noticed in the Steam Workshop there's a lot of sort of high speed bullet trains on the market for our countries around the world, so we'll probably try and use all of them. I did think about just using a normal map and then just using trains willy-nilly. Didn't matter which country they were for, just running a train for America next to a train for China or something like that. But no, I'll do it properly. I'll have the trains coming for the part of the map or the city on the map that represents that country, just to keep it good and proper. And if there's more stuff later on, once I finish that season and I feel like doing another one, I probably will just do a Transport Fever season for, we've just got total madness. Trains for Germany next to trains for America, stuff like that. British trains running alongside Japanese bullet train stuff. Just pure madness. Right, here we are in North Las Vegas. I can't remember if this is actually where we started. I think it maybe was. Here is one of the new branch lines going to Inglewood. I think this is actually where we started, because here's all the industry. Here's some more freight trains running up there. The double header train. And here's some more trucks delivering stone to this construction materials plant. I'll be adding mods like different kinds of bridges and stuff like that as well, just to make it look a bit better. So when I got the same old stuff, there's the other speed dance that loses about 5 million a pop every time it hits the station. Right, so here we are in Inglewood. Heading for Modesto, but we've already seen this, so we'll back out of there. I mean, look at the state of that. Whoa, yes, lots of stuff is old. HHP8 high horsepower trains are looking like that need replaced. Train 28, yes, that speed dance needs replaced. So, but when I get bothered doing that, because I'm pretty much finished with this map. 234 looking good. 234, tons of fuel waiting. 234, so everything's running with full loads. Let's take a quick look at our double header train. Far is he? There he is, look. So he gets almost about half. And these combat trains only get about half as well. Right, so there we are, up to 1.65 billion. And we're not getting to end there. We've done the loop line trains. Now let's go and find an intercity train that is in the middle. This one. And we'll follow that for a spell, because we can't neglect the stuff in the middle of the map. It's just taking a long time to get going. There it is. There's a branch line train coming in. This must be on. So we'll set it to 2 times speed again. There's another one. So even though there's so much of these trains in this line, every single one of them makes a profit, and they make about $50 million a year. So even if I was to run, even if every other one of my services was losing money, I would still be making a wee bit of money just by running these trains. They're basically offsetting the cost of all the terrible routes that didn't make us any money at all. If it is that. There's another metro liner. So here we are in Oakland. Holy shit. 1 million people. Only half of these will probably get on, the other half I'll have to wait about a month for the next train to appear. Right, it takes a fair time to load these. There we go. We'll speed it up to ×3 when we get to the stations for the loading and unloading of passengers, and then we'll slow it back down to 2 times speed once we get going again. Here we go though, through tunnel, signal showing a free path. Now these trains actually did screw up a couple of times as well, but they still work perfectly. I'm not sure why, but they do. I'm not sure if it's to do with the amount of quantity of trains that's on it, or just that there's a high demand for using this intercity line. Now here we go in Hampton. Hampton was probably one of the first five cities that got connected. It was part of the cities that got a rearranged station. The station before used to be over here on the right hand side, further into the city, but I had to move it out here to the left in order to expand it, and it was probably a bit too far to the left, and nothing really got built, or it never really growed on him out to the left. It just sort of stuck. The station was still stuck in the outskirts. Whereas obviously you really want your station to be right in the middle of the city to make it easier for commuters to get to the trains. And here we are in Sioux Falls. I mean, look at the size of that skyscraper. It's huge. The Sioux Falls and Independence line was the first line I ever did in Transport Fever. I think it was in episode 1 this season, or season 1, or series 1, whatever you want to call it. But no, it holds a special place in my heart. The first of our city that got a train going to it. Whoa, that boy in that pickup was chancing it there. But no, I had to get its station rearranged as well. Here is our Hampton and El Monte freight trains. And here we are coming in Independence. Now round about here, excuse me train, round about this part here was for the previous station used to be, but we couldn't expand it without it costing us a fortune, so we had to again move the city further to the station further to the left. And it actually did grow a bit here, but see, no bridges going to the other side, so growth is limited to the sphere of influence that the station can reach. And it's a good job when I got any trains going through that way, or this boy's house would be toast. I always meant to stick trains on here, probably a branch line going to Carlsbad, which is the next station, and probably a line going up here to Providence and some of the other cities at the right hand side. Couldn't really stick on anything to the left, because that's where the huge lake is that we've got our crude oil tankers running back and forth across. Here we are, heading for Carlsbad. I'm assuming that was an autosave there. Yeah, there's another intercity train. I like this bit. Through the tunnel, wee bit of open space, back through the tunnel, and then down here, down the bridge. And the next season or series, and the modded series, I'll actually try better to mark some of the lines a bit flatter, so they're not sort of going up and down so much. I'm not sure if it's actually possible. I'm not sure how deep you can run a tunnel under something. Obviously in a flat bit of ground there is a limit to how far down you can go, but I just wonder if you're going through a mountain, if you're going through a mountain, how deep your tunnel can go. Because every time I try to put it straight through, it sort of runs at like on a hill, so it's probably as deep as it can go, but going with how high the mountain goes up. And then inevitably, if you get out the tunnel out of the tunnel at the other side, you need a bridge running back down to sea level, or back down to where the ground actually is. coming out the other side of the mountain. So here we're running into Greensboro. Unfortunately, another town that never got any branch lines. A spare bit of track on the right hand side. This would be an awesome house up here. You'd have the best view ever. Although probably not as good a view as some of these apartment buildings and skyscrapers I've got. And I can't understand why, well, she's normal, she's looking straight across. The 1, 2, 3 Vulcans there, they totally look like Vulcans, staring up into space. Maybe they are Vulcans, waiting for their ship to arrive, which is now they'll have to do with an intercity train. There we go, another intercity train cruising past. It'll be good in the modded series as well, as even though we'll have a lot of these same trains, there are a lot of mods like skins, paint jobs for the trains, and we'll be able to change them up. So even though we've got 10, I say one train and an intercity line or a loop line or something like that, each one can be different. The only thing I've not sussed out yet is if you set to upgrade the whole line, it will probably just upgrade it to the colour of the train you've set for when it upgrades. So you would probably hit to do each train individually. Here's there's a Boston branch line train. So we're heading for Westminster. I did add quite a lot of branch lines in at Westminster. I think there's actually a train on every track. So these trains in the Central Intercity line are not exactly the fastest. I would say they're exactly the same as the Eanes on the west side. The GEs. I think they have got the same top speed of 99 miles per hour, although I didn't think these trains actually hit 99 miles per hour. That's something else I have to do in the next season, is I need to mark tracks a bit straighter. And I need to tidy stuff like some of the embankments and do a bit of smoothing and stuff as I go along, instead of just running something through, creating a massive gouge or gash or cut or slice out of the land and smoothing it out so it looks a bit more natural. But it's a lesson I have learned, and I will implement it the next time. Maybe. Probably. We'll see. I'll probably forget. The first line I'll build will be a massive chunk out of the earth, and I'll completely forget about it, and then I'll be building something else and I'll say, hey, what the fuck was that? Why did I not smooth that out at the beginning? And then I'll get distracted for the thing that I'm actually trying to build, and then I'll end up going to try and build something else, completely forgetting that I'm halfway through building the previous thing that I was building before I got carried away with smoothing. So here we go, back down in Modesto, end of the line for the intercity train. Although it could probably just go on air and keep going if I wanted. But there is actually a train using that line, so no, it can't. So, more shit needs to be replaced. Speed dances, yes. An autosave, we're in 2057. Scratch that, mark it 2058. And this is it. This is the end of our American playthrough. So it's been a pleasure. I really did enjoy playing this game. No particularly on this map. I mean, I totally prefer playing my European playthrough rather than the USA. And I think it's just because in the European I had more money to play with. But that's not completely the end. I shall do exactly the same thing in this episode, but with the European. If it's on here, 14. Is anybody waiting? 12. I will stick on the plane just now until we wrap this up. That plane looks a bit terrible as well. I'm sure as shit I wouldn't be getting on a plane that looked like that. Just needs a lick of paint. But no, this isn't completely the end. I will do the same again in the European. We will jump on probably a TGV and do a loop line outer rim lap of the map and see if it's going on. And then we can do an intercity run through the middle. There we go, there's some more ships to the right hand side. Ooh, this plane takes a rather convoluted route. It looks pretty cool flying over all the cities and the trains and stuff. I should have done this probably a couple more times. I'll slow it down. There we go. There it is on its descent, but that's going to be it from the good old US of A until we start building stuff in our modded series in the USA side of the map. That'll be it for the USA. So that's another thing about the next team, that the Europe and the USA is in one map. So I didn't hate to mark one episode for each side. So that's another thing I'm looking forward to, because it's hard to remember if I was doing stuff in the Europe map or the USA map, and it was a bit confusing at sometimes. I would get things mixed up. But no, that's going to be it as this boy comes to land in Frisco. I've been Danny Boy. If you did actually watch this and you'd like to leave a like or a comment, please do. If you've got a comment or a suggestion about what I could do in the modded series, feel free to do so. I will take it under advisement. And that's it. That's it for the USA. We'll say our fond farewell, and I will catch you later.